friends, Romans, countrymen, welcome to the Level Cap Podcast!
Ooh. Did you just stab me in the back?
Ed 2, Marco.
Oh, no.
I'm your host, Brad Talton, and with me is my wonderful co-host,
Marco, otherwise, Des Santos.
Yes, and we're here today. We got a fun podcast for you, folks. We're gonna be talking about all kinds of cool stuff. But first, let's talk about one another. Marco, how are you today?
Oh, man, Brad, I am poopy tired, pooped out, if as the Americans would say. Had a long drive back home, but I guess I'm fine. I'm ready to do this podcast.
Where were you traveling?
Oh, from work. Oh, Philippine traffic.
Oh, just from work, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. I'm actually, aside from that, I think I'm having like war flashbacks to school days because most of my time today has been spent, most of my free time rather, has been spent working on the translation, the Filipino translation for BattleCon Online.
Mm-hmm.
And man, did I only find out now that there were a lot of English words that don't have Filipino translations?
You said it was going to be so easy, Marco. You're like, this will be so easy for me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I thought it was going to be so easy for me until I realized that a lot of words that you used in the game don't have exact Filipino translations. I
guess there are more complexities to translation than we give credit for.
Yeah, it's true.
To give our translators credit for.
Yeah, like I think I just can't directly translate some of the words because like directly translating them doesn't make any sense. Like the word soak, like we have a word for that in Filipino, but
it's for laundry.
Yeah, like it's like for laundry or something like that. So I had to like rename it something like block.
Yeah. You can just call it armor or something like that.
Yeah, block. I call it block. Because that's the only Filipino word we have. We don't even have a word for armor. You know that? We don't have a word for armor.
Really?
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, stunned, we don't have a word for stunned either. So, like, I had to consult a Filipino university professor just to get a word for it.
Oh, wow. Well, I remember back in the old days, the NES and the SNES, and we would look at those translations to English and we would just laugh. But there's a lot to it. It's not as easy as all that, and a lot of times you got to make words up, or you have to, improvise to get the exact meaning to come over.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's an art to it.
Yeah,
but it's really exciting to have BattleCon Online in multiple languages for our launch, which is going to be August 10th. You can now find BattleCon Online in the Steam store. You can wishlist it. You can prepare for the launch on launch day, August 10th, and we'll see you there for the big launch day. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited because I already wishlisted. Some people are already planning like, oh, what kind of guides can we put in the discussion forums? And I'm like, all right, guys.
Well, the discussion forums are open, and you can start posting those right now if you want to.
Yeah. If you want to, shout out to Wind Up Bird, who is already writing an entire new series of guides for characters in BattleCon Online. I like the format, very interesting. He basically just picks 5 attack pairs, one for each style, and just talks about every single one, and kind of uses that to talk about the character in general. So it's a cool window.
That's interesting. That is a pretty neat format.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool format. I like it. So hopefully we get to see more. I've read the Hikaru one. I hope it comes out by the time this podcast is out. So Brett, how about you? How are you? I want to know how you're feeling.
I'm doing really well.
Oh no!
Excuse me. I know I sound sleepy. I'm actually not tired. Just had a yawn there all of a sudden. I haven't stretched out this morning, but I've been going to sleep a little earlier in the evenings, and so I can be peppy for this podcast. And it feels good. I feel rested and ready to hit the day and get to work. I've been doing a lot of work on different things, mainly on free companies and on 7th Cross, and preparing for Gen Con next week. And
all right, Gen Con's next week.
Gen Con's next week, and I'm just looking forward to that, really.
Yeah,
Getting ready for all that.
Ah, man, that sounds so exciting. By the way, when you say sleep earlier, what time does that usually mean?
That would be 11:30
Uh,
usually.
I
Sleep at
see.
11:30, wake up at 7:30, and I'd like to get up at 6:30 and sleep at 11, but I haven't adjusted all the way to there yet.
I
But
see. Okay.
my
Okay.
natural my I don't really know what my natural rhythm is because I drink coffee, and if I drink coffee, then I go at the coffee rhythm.
I see.
So I'm trying to cut back on coffee and live more naturally according to my own body's ebb and flow.
I see. Okay. Maybe you should try that thing I recently saw at the 7-Eleven. I'm not sure if your 7-Elevens have them, but they have reverse energy drinks now. Um, basically, they're
Isn't
drinks
it
that make you
isn't it just
sleepy.
like whiskey?
no, no. I mean, like I think it's like some sort of combination of like herbal teas and all that stuff that's supposed to make you mellow and sleepy. So
Uh-huh.
that's interesting, right? It's like a reverse energy drink. It's a drink that makes you sleep. Uh, so maybe you should take that. Oh, see, I think you've already taken it. See, you're taking my
Maybe.
advice so fast. All right, Brad.
Oh goodness. Oh
Brad, I'm so
goodness. There
excited
goes.
to move on to our next segment. So can we move on to our next segment? Because I really want to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about this.
Let's talk about Game Club. This one's been a long time coming because
Oh
I
my
asked
gosh.
you like 3 weeks ago to check out the Atelier series, and
Yes, I
so
did.
which one did you get?
So I played Rorona because I already owned that, and then I played Ferris because you told me to get that one, so I did. I
Oh,
literally
okay.
went to a game shop and bought it just for this. So I'm so
Aw.
excited to talk about it. So our game club game for this week is Atelier Ferris, or maybe just the Atelier series in general. And
Well,
Atlier's
Rona and Furious are fairly different. Rona is part of the Arlen series, right?
I am not actually. So this is the thing, right? The
Yeah.
Atelier series is to Brad as roguelikes are to Marco. So like Brad's probably played every single one
Yeah.
of these things. So I don't know a lot. I actually didn't know that they came as sets of 3 until you told me they came as sets of 3, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. Rona is the first. I think the first game in the Arlen series.
So why
Um,
isn't it the Rorona
yeah.
series?
It's basically the world that they're in. Like in um, what's the word? The take like Final Fantasy. They all happen in a different world. But some of them are in the same world. Like 11 and Tactics, or 12 and Tactics are in the same world. I think. Um, that kind of thing.
Okay,
So
okay.
basically, every 3 games are set in their own world, and they link together. All right, and so it's a strict timeline. So like, Rorona comes first, and then I think it's Tolturi, and then Miroru. I think is that series.
I'm pretty sure
Um,
there is an Atelier Maruru, so I mean you're
yeah,
not wrong. Yeah, so tell me what this series is all about. Like do you know anything about its origins or stuff? Because I know nothing outside of the 2 games that I played from this series.
yeah. So it's a game that is, gosh, it's been around in Japan like forever, for like a long, long time, since I'd say since the PlayStation era,
Oh
at
jeez.
least.
It's an old
The
series
PS1
then.
era. Yeah. So let's see. The first one is 2000 and or no 1997. Yeah,
Oh jeez.
Atelier Marie, which I actually own a Japanese copy of Atelier Marie.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. But I really actually got started playing the Atelier Iris series, which was 2004.
Okay.
And that was while I was in college. So I played through those. Those are the first ones that came to America.
Mm.
Um,
So
mhm.
for our listeners, can you explain, like in general, at least for the Ferris series, right? Like, what's the gameplay? What's it about? What is, like, if you had to sell the Atelier series to me, what is it?
Okay, so yeah, so let me talk about the basics. All right, so this is a game. All right, so you've played like MMOs before, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And a lot of MMOs have a crafting system where you go out in the world and you gather materials and you craft things, and then you can sell them in the game market, right?
Yeah.
Um, but what if gathering things and crafting was the end unto itself? What if the crafting system was the real game, and the MMO was just kind of a side game that you played to get your materials for crafting. I know a lot of people who play MMOs this way, like they really just are interested in the crafting systems and getting their items to craft.
I played a merchant in Ragnarok. Does that count?
Yeah, it's a lot like that. A lot of people play Monster Hunter this way.
I
They just
see.
want to build the cool armors and stuff. They don't really care about the actual monster hunting too much. So that's the kind of the idea of this. You go out into the world. There's this, and especially in Furious, they made a big open world, which is really cool. So Furious feels even more like an MMO, whereas the previous one in the series, Sophie, you go to a zone, and the zone is like 3 or 4 small areas, and then you leave and you go back to the overworld map. But in Furious, the whole world is one giant cohesive world, and you go out, you fight monsters, you collect materials. You don't have to fight monsters to collect materials. You can use tools like bombs, axes, shovels, etc. All these different tools to gather your materials. Then you go back to your workshop and you build items using this cool grid puzzle system. So you basically play this little puzzle mini game to optimize your items.
Yep.
And then the items you use can be used to gather more stuff. Like you build a mining bomb, you go into the caves, you bomb open rocks, and you get better materials out of that. You build an axe, you go chop trees, you get better lumber out of it.
Yeah.
Higher quality lumber. And the higher quality goods allow you to make even better stuff. So this is, and then in this game, you're trying to get like 3 letters of recommendation from alchemists around the world. So you just go to different cities and you just do whatever tasks they have for you. And in that sense, too, it feels very MMO because there's not a specific place you have to be at any given time. You just have a certain amount of time to go and finish 3 major quests throughout the world.
Yeah, that's one thing I really like and find weird about this game. Outside of the usual Atelier mechanics of item making and all that jazz, there's that open world, and then there's the time limit. Basically, they just go you know what? Do whatever the heck you want, wherever the heck you want to be. Just make sure you finish everything on time. I find that to be a very interesting but also scary concept because I'm the kind
It's pretty different.
Yeah, I'm the kind of player who, I'm the kind of player who spends 3 to 4 hours in the starting zone just grinding, so that I'm level 20 before the first major boss or something.
Yeah, the time limit kind of pushes you away from that.
Yeah, I can't do that, so I was like, oh, okay. This is very interesting, though.
There aren't really major bosses in this game. It's more about the major boss is a really hard item that you have to go collect 10 materials for, and then each one is its own side quest.
Yeah.
So it's a little different than the traditional RPG. Maybe one of those you have to fight a boss to get, but the bosses in the game are pretty lightweight compared to a lot of other games.
I think I was lied to because I think you told me that it was a JRPG, and I think the box says it's a JRPG. It's not. It's not
an RPG, and it comes from Japan. What more do you want?
I mean,
what's your JRPG?
I guess that makes sense, right? But in a traditional sense, it doesn't play like any other JRPG. The battle system, like you said, it's secondary. It doesn't exist. It's the main game is literally just crafting all the items. And
yeah, you can tell if you're the right level for an area if your bomb can destroy the entire enemy group in one hit. And if it takes you 2 bombs, you're probably a little underlevel. If it takes you 3 bombs, you probably need to leave. But this is a game where, if you encounter a boss you can't beat, you go and you make an item that can specifically destroy that boss, and then you come back and you destroy them.
Yeah, I think that's what's really cool about this game, and it's that, there's an archetype in Dungeons and Dragons that I love playing, and it's that, crafty rogue alchemist kind of character who doesn't win because they're really strong, but wins because they're really smart. And I feel like that's this entire game. It gives you that experience a lot, right? It's when you experience a difficulty or a challenge that you can't beat, you just go into your think tank and go oh, I'm gonna make 17 bombs that literally just kill this guy on it because I hate it.
Yeah.
And then
it's a lot like that. And I think one of the things about these games that are really cool is that you start to see recurring characters through them. At the beginning of Furious, you meet Sophie, and Sophie's the main character of the previous game. And when she blows open the cave at the beginning with her bomb at the beginning of the adventure, like that's actually the best bomb in the entire previous game that you used to.
Oh.
It's the bomb you used to kill the final boss in the previous game.
Oh man.
So, and
I didn't
then
know
yeah,
that.
and you spent the entire game trying to, like, the other girl that's with her, Plakta, actually starts out as a book, and you have to help Plakta get her body back after she was transformed into a book. So, like, you have all these adventures and all this backstory, and then the characters come up and they're like, oh yeah, you want to be an alchemist? I can teach you. And you're like, yeah, I'm sure you can, Sophie, because I taught you.
Because I was you, Sophie. I was you.
Yeah, I know your struggle.
No, so I think there's a big, like, I think that's probably a cool moment that I missed out on because I didn't play Sophie, right? Like,
it's a little thing. It's a little thing, but it is pretty cool.
yeah. I'm not saying it's like,
Sophie is a lot different. Like, Sophie doesn't have a time limit. You can just play for as long as you want.
oh,
There's no time constraints in that game.
yeah.
And the gathering is a lot different.
Yeah, I think there's one criticism I have about this game. It's basically like this is a very mechanics game, and like the story and everything is just like it's just window dressing, I guess.
The story is very secondary, but the characters are very primary.
Oh yeah,
If
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You come back to your lair, and all the other party members just hanging around, and they'll just talk for 10 minutes and think nothing of it. Like, everyone has all these cutscenes where they talk to everybody else for about random stuff. So the characters really come to life. The game story of, like, oh, let's go over and and like save the world, that doesn't really come out in this. It's just, this girl Firis who wants to, become an alchemist and is traveling the world on this adventure. So it's very much slice of life in that sense.
Yeah, I was
right?
about to say it basically feels like I'm playing a slice of life anime because that's literally what
Yeah.
it feels like. Like
It's true.
I
And
step
the
back
final boss, there will be a final boss, like in
Oh,
Sophie, like
spoiler.
right after you get, right after you help Plakta and you get her body, and then she's like, oh yeah, I remembered, there's this final boss, and then a final boss pops up, and you have to go fight it and win the game. And that's it's not exactly like that, but it's almost literally like that.
Nice.
Like, it's very, very just, oh yeah, here's an endpoint for the game. And then afterwards, after you beat the final boss, you can come back and you keep doing slice of life stuff because there's even more content after the end of the game.
Yeah. I love the interaction between Firis and her sister. See, I forget her sister's name already.
They're pretty funny.
Yeah, they're pretty cute. I like the sister. I hate it. I forget her name.
Her sister's Leanne.
Yeah, Leanne. Sorry. Yeah, Leanne's fun. Because I don't know. I have a soft spot in my heart for the cool looking dork character, because that's what Leanne is, right? Like,
Yeah, she is.
she basically just
Such
acts
a nerd.
She's such a dork nerd when you get to know her, but before you get to know her, she's just like this elegant warrior, like girl who just goes out and kills monsters and hunts. And then, like, when you get to meet her, she's like, oh, I like it when my little sister is happy and smiling, and I'm really sad when she's sad. And I'm like, oh, Leanne.
Yeah, it's like Firis is always like 5 years old to her.
I mean, to be fair, Firis does usually act like she's 5 years old.
Yeah.
No offense
Anyway,
to her.
it's a lot of fun. If you want more like story, check out the Iris series. They have a really strong story, and they're much more about the combat.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, Eternal Mana, Azeroth's Destiny, Grand Phantasm, Iris 1, 2, 3. Those are really good. And if you want more of a, like, directed plot, check out Manachemia, which, like, you are a student at this magical school, and you have basically assignments to do every single week. And so the time pressure is very real in that game. And you have a lot of plot going on in the background because the calendar really whips you forward.
Brad, I play video games to have fun, not to be back at school.
It's fun school. It's fun school.
Fun school. All right, I'm gonna take your word for it.
Dusk is also a great series. If you like, Eska and Logi is really good. That one has a pretty good plot and a pretty good forward momentum as well.
Man, you're making me miss all of my favorite JRPGs like Wild Arms and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so Brad, I don't think I even have to ask this. Would you recommend Atelier Firis to people?
So yeah, I would always recommend the Alloy series to anyone. Like I said, there's a lot of different series, so like sub-series, so it depends on what you want. If you want the open world adventure, check out the new Mysterious series, which is the PS3 era. I would also recommend Esca Logi for PS3, and then if you still got a PS2, Atelier Iris 2 is one of the strongest entries in the series.
I see. Where do you rank Ferris? Like,
I'd say Ferris is probably like my top one or two of them so far. Like I really like the open world, thing.
So
the only thing I think I like more is the exploration. Or like I like the exploration of this one. The like daily life of the characters in Esca Logi is a lot stronger, I think, because you work in the municipal office of the city. And so, like, the government gives you jobs, and the citizens give you jobs, and you really get to know all the townspeople because they all come into your office every single day. And
you don't
have
get
to
that in
favors
Ferris.
from all of them.
You don't get that in Ferris.
You don't get it because you're always traveling in Ferris. So you go to a city, you meet the people in the city, and then you leave.
Yeah, so you don't like.
And I think that's the only weakness to that game.
I see. Okay. Yeah, because that was in Verona. Like when I played Verona, it had that like you would get to know everybody in the town and like.
Yeah, and most of them are like that. The Iris series is a little bit like that. 2 is kind of the best because you have one character that lives in town and meets all the people, and then you have another character that goes on adventures around the world, and you can swap between them instantly.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So you get kind of the best of both worlds.
We've got the best.
The one that's the most recent one, Lydia and Suel, is you like go jump into these paintings, and there's secret worlds inside the paintings, and that's pretty cool because you get these really big open secret worlds, but you still live in the town and you still get to meet all the people.
I see.
So I think that Lydia and Suel will probably be my favorite after I get to it, but right now I'm still in the middle of Fierce. I want to play that so that I can have all of those, like, oh, I recognize that character moments when I get to the last game in the series.
Oh my gosh, you're such a nerd, Brad. Gosh. All right,
I know.
I would also recommend this game, mostly because I just like the fact that your character never fights. Like, Ferris never fights. All Ferris does is throw bombs at things, and, like, that's the game. Everybody else is a meat shield. That's what I've realized, is that everybody else is just Ferris's meat shield. I guess I kind of find that kind of combat funny. Again, combat is secondary.
They can use items too.
I mean, yeah, but, like, I just make everybody, like, meat shield for Ferris anyway.
That's fair. They do get better on their own.
But Brad,
later on,
I'm the important one here. My character
but you also have like 20 hit points. Like your other characters get to like 100 hit points, and Ferris will still have like 20, 30 hit points.
But that's why you make them meat shield.
They kind of have to be shields.
Yeah, so you make them meat shield for you. They are my servant slaves. They are nothing more than extra health points for Ferris. But yeah, it's a fun game. Play it. I recommend it. Alright, so that was Atelier Ferris. I hope all of you enjoyed listening to us talk about it, listening to Brad nerd out about a bunch of JRPGs, and listening to Marco talk about how much he wants to just throw bombs at things. If you want to recommend us a new Game Club game for next week, or the week after, please tell us in the comment section down below. Just make sure it's easily accessible, and we'll probably get to it. Now, let's move on to the next segment, which I like to call Brad's segment, which is also known as the Pipeline, where Brad is the Lord God of the segment, and gets to decide whether we will learn about something new about Level 99 games or something new about one of our characters. Brad, take it away.
Yeah, well, this week I will take a little time and talk about the development of BattleCon Online, since we're getting real close to that.
Okay.
So we have just put together the complete Steam build for BattleCon Online. The game is ready to launch. It's on Steam. All of the the account linking, the in-app purchasing, the achievements, everything is in. And so we're just preparing. We're just doing some final bug fixes and a few final facelifts for our big launch on August 10th. So prepare yourselves. August 10th, BattleCon Online. You can see it in the App Store now. You can wishlist it so that you get an email when it comes out. It's going to be really good. It's
Are you excited, Brad? I'm hyped.
I'm real excited. This is my first big video game. I want it to be a big success, and I think it's going to be a big success. I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, it's great. We just released Seraphina too, right? So
we did. So we now have Seraphina, who I believe is the 20th fighter in the roster available.
Yeah.
And so she will be the new launch character, but you can play her a little early if you're in beta. And with let's see, so she's in there, and shortly after BattleCon Online comes out, we're going to release Evil Hikaru. So
great.
Look out for Evil Hikaru to appear as a playable character.
Ooh, he's evil?
He's super evil. He's voice acted by the original Hikaru voice actor as well. So he'll sound similar.
Is he comically evil? Or is he actually evil? I've never asked this question. Is he actually evil, or is he just comically evil?
It's probably both. I mean, he's comically evil. It's super overdone. It's like, look at me, I'm evil kind of level. I mean, you've seen his attacks, right?
That's fair.
You know, like
Mega Darkness.
Yeah, like Blood Rage Devastator and stuff like that. Like, he has ridiculous attacks. And his elements are evil elements, and they're like evil fire and evil water and evil earth and evil wind. So that should tell you a little bit about this character.
Yeah, he's great. I love him. So Brad, I have a few questions about this Steam release.
Yeah.
I'm really what oh my gosh. Basically, what do you hope for the future of BattleCon Online after it comes out of Steam? What's the dream here? What's the dream?
So I think that the dream is that the game does really, really well. We make tons of money with every character release, and so we keep releasing characters one a month until we have most of the cast involved. And then we can have or rather, I say then, but during that time, if things continue to go well, we want to have additional modes. So I've already spec'd out like a dungeon mode, so where you can play solo against enemy AIs. Like to have like a tavern brawl, like a weekly bonus game where we can play some of the other variants. The system's already built to support variants like Armory and Light and Shadow and stuff, so we can give characters alternate UAs. We can give characters alternate tokens, alternate hit points. We can make stages with special effects. All this kind of stuff is already in the game. We just need to have a big enough player base that we can put in those special modes, and it won't dilute players to the point where they never see each other again online.
Yeah, that tends to be a problem with beta, which makes sense. It's in beta, right? Yeah, the queue times can get a bit long, especially if you're in my time zone, because nobody else in Asia plays apparently.
Well, we did have like 50 concurrent players. Excuse me. We did have like 50 concurrent players the other day.
Oh, really? That's great, because we just released Seraphina. Yeah. Everybody's excited about her.
Yeah, everyone is excited. So I think we keep up the stream of characters coming out, and that will keep people involved. So after Seraphina, we have Evil Hikaru, we have Berman.
Where's my drug boy?
Rexon and Carolyn, both coming this season.
Where's my drug boy?
Klinhide is season 3.
Dang it.
So, not yet, Marco.
Takes too long, but it's okay.
Also, is it safe to say that kind of thing in the Philippines?
I'm in closed doors behind closed rooms, so it should be fine.
Okay.
All right. Where's my performance enhancing boy? There you go. Much safer. Performance enhancing substance boy. Man, I'm so excited. I actually was the one who, quote unquote, coded the voice lines for Seraphina and Marmalade. And
that was you helping out with that.
Yeah, so I got quite acquainted with Seraphina's lines. I'm very excited to report that she is a sassy German lady, and it's so funny. I never expected her to sound like that. I always expected her to sound like more serious, but at the end of the day, she just basically acts like you're not worth her time, and I think that's funny.
Oh yeah, she's pretty great.
Yeah,
I'm really happy with the personality that she turned out with. Some of the characters have a lot of little hidden voice lines. Like Kalistar makes lots of ridiculous movie references.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Especially if you get the Ice Kalistar, it has alternate lines that are ice themed, and she tells like every every pun from
For
like Batman 2. Like
like,
every Mr. Freeze pun from
oh
Batman 2 is in there.
no. Okay,
Um,
I didn't know that. I mean, I know
yeah.
somebody says like "say hello to my little friend," and I'm not sure if that's Rook or Calistar.
I think that's probably Rook that says that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when he does fully
Uh,
automatic or something, say hello to my
yeah.
little friend or something like that.
So I like to put in some fun references like that.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, and Tyrion, who's written a couple of the characters too, has put in a lot of fun stuff, especially in upcoming characters like Eerie. We have lots of great references.
Oh,
in
of
there.
course. Eerie has to be basically anime the character, right? So she.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh, who's writing Wardlaw?
It's pretty cool. You can if you want to.
Oh my gosh.
We haven't thought about Wardlaw yet.
Oh man.
Yeah, too many cool characters to do first.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Wardlaw's not cool enough for you, Brad. God.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh my god. You made this character. How could you not think he was cool?
I made him to be uncool.
What? How dare you? He's awesome. He's awesome.
Oh,
How dare you? Oh my gosh, Wardlow's great. So I'm really excited about BattleCon Online on Steam, and I'm really glad. What was the biggest challenge of getting this game on Steam?
The biggest challenge of getting this game on Steam was probably just finishing the game. Like once we had the game client in a good state, getting it set up for Steam only took us like 2.5 weeks.
Oh really? I didn't know.
Yeah. The Steam integration was not too bad, and part of that's just because Cameron's a wizard with this stuff and can just hammer it out no problem. The other part of it was that the Steam API is actually lighter weight than you might imagine.
Oh okay, so it's
like
more
they
lenient.
they have a lot of libraries that are already written. Yeah.
Oh okay, that's good. So I'm glad. Brad, do you have anything else you want to sneak peek to us before we end this segment?
No, I think that I've said all the cool things that need to be said. So, yeah.
So yeah. All right. So let's move on to my segment, also known as 99 Questions, where we talk about hot-baked questions, fresh from Brad and me. Wait, no, fresh from you, given to me and Brad, and then churned into proper fresh-baked answers. First off, first question I'd like to ask is this. Brad, tell me, what are the main steps or basic concepts of translating an existing franchise, like video game, TV show, or book, into a board game?
So, the main thing is, first off, you should completely finish the game.
Okay, that's very important, I assume.
You should go seek the license with a business plan, because they don't actually care about the game. They just care about the business plan that you have and how many units you're going to sell and how many you're going to print.
Oh, I see.
And then once you do all that, then you should be prepared to present the game and print it immediately and sell it, because these licenses come with a very strict time limit. So, to elaborate a bit on that, right? Because I've done all of these things in all these different orders. So sometimes you get a license, and then you're like, oh, I can make a game for that really quickly. But the licensor generally will not want you to build a game that doesn't already have market provenance.
Okay.
They want to know that, like, companies don't want, like Fallout the game. They want Fallout Monopoly, because they've already got Fallout the game. It's the video game. What they really just want is another way to put it on your shelf so that you can see it every day and so that they can make a little bit of money on it. And what they really want to know is, are you going to print, 10,000, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, 1 million of these? How many do you expect to sell? Because that's how much money we're going to make for selling you this license. And you can only sell one license to the board game at a time, right? So if I buy the board game license to Fallout, that means Hasbro doesn't get the board game license to Fallout. And clearly, Hasbro is going to make more money with it than I am. So
it's going to go
Hasbro would be the clear winner in that bid. And so that's generally how these things go.
I see.
In addition to that, like once they sign the license, it's got a deadline. You have to sell all copies of the game off by, like December the following year, usually. Which means that when your production time is like 5-6 months, you have to put the game in production right then to get the game out to the, to the audience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Aside from that, they want to know that you have connections to like big box stores. They really want to know, like where the, like, are you going to sell in Barnes & Noble? Is this going to be in Target? Is this going to be on Amazon? Is this going to be, in like Kmart? Like, all the different big box stores. They want to see that you're going to get it into as many different stores as possible, so they're getting as much brand exposure as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough. Okay, you're probably ruining everyone's dreams, right?
I am. Well, I'm going to ruin it even more for you because that's the kind of person I am. You notice the step that is not in there is
like making the game,
to take the game and talk to the president of the company and show and get them impressed with your design, right? So I've done that. Actually, I got to pitch a game to Gearbox actually once.
Wow.
And I went to to Texas, and I took the game and I put it on the table and I played it with the CEO of Gearbox and all of the VPs, and they loved it, and they're like, "Oh, this is great. We got to publish this." And I was like, "Yeah, that's great." And then their publisher was like, "Yeah, we don't need that. That's not enough money," and that was the end of it. So, that's why I say, like, it's really more about the business than it is about the game that you design.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Marco.
Marco.
You made me sad. I guess I'm gonna have to hide my Quidditch board game.
Yeah. Also, it already exists, I'm pretty sure.
Brad. Let me live. Let me have this, okay? This small piece of happiness, okay? Because you've just destroyed all of the happiness, okay?
Oh. Yep.
Brad, destroy dreams, Talton. Gosh. Alright, just kidding. Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty
cutthroat, man. It sounds like really,
I would
really
just say it's a little bit disheartening to work on licensed games, because unless the licensor is going to empower you to make the game that you want to make, then it's pretty
unlikely
that it's going to turn out to be great,
Yeah, it seems like
they
that.
like when you design a game with like X character or with X series, like X has to be the main character. They have to appear on the cover art. This is one reason that I didn't license. Like, I had the opportunity to license Darkstalkers for Exceed, and I decided not to do it for two main reasons. The first being that I feel like Darkstalkers is kind of dead, and it's like they're not coming out with a new game, and so it's not that great to continue promoting it, and we won't get much support from Capcom either. The second thing is that I think Morrigan is probably the least interesting character in that game, but she's going to have to be on all the promotional materials, and I just don't want to plaster my booth with pictures of Morrigan.
Yeah.
So,
not even Dimitri? Like, Dimitri's way more interesting.
You could do Dimitri, but like the characters that I actually like are the characters like like Jeddah and QB and like Sasquatch, like all the off the wall ones, right? And but no, really, Morrigan goes on the cover. If it's a Darkstalkers game, it's Morrigan and Lilith.
No, thank you.
And so I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that too much. So
yeah, okay, understandable. You know what? Season 7th Cross succeed instead. Next question, Brad. How much is the Make a Monster / Boss 7th Cross pledge? They're getting way ahead of the game.
On that yet. We haven't decided
way ahead of the game. Are you sure? Brad?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have not priced it out yet.
Sad. Would that include a mini for that boss? That would be so cool. If I could make a boss and then you could have minis for it. Gosh, that would be so cool. I need to save money to do that.
We'll see.
My boss will be a giant ball made out of fists. and then it just punches you. It's the brawl boss. It's the best boss.
Wow. No, you had to stretch real hard for that one.
Can I get a 10 out of 10 of my game boss design, Brad? Mr.
No.
Talton, please?
No.
Oh, gosh. All right, last
Denied.
question, Brad. Last question. This was a question we actually asked Laura a few weeks back, and we weren't able to ask you, and I feel like it's very important to ask you as a game designer. This isn't on the docket, and I'm going to surprise you. What's your biggest pet peeve in games?
My biggest pet peeve in like board games or video games or
In general.
just games in general?
Games in general? I mean, you can do video games, you can do board games. Pick one. Pick both.
I don't know if there's anything in games that really makes me angry at a game.
Okay, not really angry, but like, what's something in a game that would make you like instantly dislike it or instantly not like it anymore?
Maybe if the characters were not relatable at all. You know, sometimes when you, especially in like a story-based game, and this is the reason, I think this is the main reason that a lot of protagonists are silent in these games or say very little, is that if the main character that you're identifying with says or does something that's not, that you couldn't imagine yourself doing, it immediately breaks you out of the game, right?
Yeah, immersion broken.
Yeah, the most common example of this is, in L.A. Noire. You play as this detective Cole Phelps, and he's clearly another character. He's not you. He's another character. But there's like there's a couple moments in the game. One of them is where like Cole is interviewing this guy, and one of the options you could say is like, I don't believe you. And you say like, oh, well, I don't believe this guy, so I'll pick the I don't believe you option. And Cole like leaps over the table and like slams the guy's head to the ground, and he's like, I don't believe you. And
nice. You're
like, that's not how I would have handled that, Cole. That's not what I really wanted you to do. You kind of went past the line there. There's another. This is a spoiler section. Spoiler. So turn it off now if you're gonna still play LA Noire. But it's been like 8 or 9 years now, so
it's like spoiling Star Wars.
Who wants to play it has played it. Yeah, it's like spoiling Star Wars at this point. But there's one scene where you're at Cole's home, and you put on your shoes, you kiss your wife goodbye, you say you're going to work, and then you get in your car like you're going to drive to the office. But instead of driving to the office, you drive down to Hollywood, and you drive to this actress's house. And you get out of the car, and she's waiting for her, and you give her a kiss, and you go into her house, and the scene cuts, and you're like, wow, I just steered this character to go cheat on his wife, and there's no like other choice that you have, like that's what you do to advance the story.
That's weird.
And it's like I can't believe that like the game was making me make this decision, but at that point in the game, you get to stop playing as Cole, so you don't have to think about these things anymore. But it's still kind of jarring that this character makes these decisions that are separate from me, that are not the decisions that I wanted to make in the game. In a game that is like 90% go where you want, do what you want.
Yeah,
there are a couple of things the character does that are just beyond the way that you paint him in your mind.
Yeah, that's true. I think I agree with you on that. It's happened to me before. I think some RPGs had options. It's like, go with them, don't go with them, think of a third option. It's like, think of a third option. And then like you kill the other guy. And I'm like, that's not what I was expecting you would do. So, I get that. All right, so that pretty much does for the 99 questions segment, where you guys ask us for hot-baked questions and we give you hot, fresh answers. If you have any more questions, please put it in the comment section down below or put it in our Google Forms, where we will answer those eventually. Finally, we'll move on to our last segment, Brad, also known as Otherwise, where we have a cool, fun, rotating game suggested by listeners. For this
What's this week's game?
This week's game is called Bop It. There's a bit of a context here that I had to Google to understand why it was called this. So apparently
So
somebody
you didn't invent this game.
No. It was submitted by a listener anonymously via our Google Forms. They said, if Kids Bop had to cover or make versions of some famous board games, what would they be like? And I had to Google what Kids Bop was. Apparently, it's like a band that covers pop songs, but they're a bunch of kids, so they make it like child friendly. So, So basically, I think this segment will be, let's make child-friendly versions of board games. And let's suggest, I will suggest, I'll put forth one towards you, Brad, right? And don't put one towards me. I think we should co-op on this one, all right? Because I feel like the end product is always much better if we work together rather than work against each other. That's a lesson for all of you people listening at home. Friendship. Collaborating. We're stronger together. Here's the deal. Brad, I want us to Kids Bop or Bop it. And let's make a kiddie version of Dark Souls. Cause that's like
of course it's Dark Souls.
That's the end. That's the only logical end to this, right? If we're gonna Dark Soulsify everything else, let's kidify Dark Souls to make it a shell of what it used to be. You sound so exasperated already. It's
man, I'm pretty exasperated right now, Marco. I thought this was gonna be this cool original game, and then it all just came back to Dark Souls-fied again.
Okay. It's not Dark Souls-fied. It's you kidified Dark. Okay, fine. We can do another game. It has to be an edgy.
No. It's fine. I'd like to hear a group of rowdy kids shout, "You are dead!" like at the end of each verse. That'd be great.
Oh no! Okay, so basically the game is they just asked us to list down some that would be interesting to listen to. I think you already sold me on the Dark Souls song. Do you have any other board game you would
like walking down the street? What's the name of the city in the
Anne
game?
Orlando.
Yeah, walking down the street in Anne Orlando, tripped on a rock. Now you're dead. That kind of thing.
Oh, no. What's this? All right.
Walking through the catacombs of Carthus, stepped on a switch, boulder trap falls. Now you're dead.
You're dead. You're dead. Yay!
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
my gosh,
creepy.
Kids Bop. To be fair, somebody did review Kids Bop and said, hearing a choir of children sing popular songs is either cute or creepy. It's your choice.
It's entirely dependent on whether you like a choir of kids, whether you're ever a member of a choir of kids.
That's true, because then it's either it's creepy or you're so creepy that you no longer find it creepy, right?
That's not true. I sang in church choir.
You sang in church choir?
Yeah, I kind of enjoy hearing kids sing. Like if it's done well and it's not they're not all shouty.
Okay, that's fair.
It's not like an everyday thing, but like when you hear it at Christmas time, you're like, oh, that's sweet, right?
Yeah, okay. I was like, whenever
I wouldn't like turn on a CD and listen to kids sing. That's a little,
That's a little much. Okay, so it's more of like,
you hear it in church, you hear it in like school plays, or you hear it and at Christmas time, and you're like, oh, that's cute. These kids are not too bad.
I see. So it's more of a what do you call that? Like,
I guess a nostalgic thing, or not even nostalgic, but a
it's just when you're in that moment, right? Like you don't actively seek for it, but when it happens, you live that experience.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Also, I think another hilarious Kids Bop thing would definitely be having to do a song about Risk, because that'll be really interesting.
Risk, like the old war game?
The old war game. It's like, like, it's 1987 and we're here to take over your country. Or something like that, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, and it's like, occupation, yeah! Or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I wonder. What would a good one be?
BattleCon Kids Bop? That would be weird.
Oh no. You're a brawler.
Oh no.
Brawler.
You go like, we put our hands up in the air sometimes and say, Geomantic Bomb Strike!
Oh god. Oh god. We need to stop this segment. This is too bad. This is the worst.
All right, we're ending this otherwise segment. Thank you very much to the person who submitted that. Please, if you want to suggest other cool games for Brad and me to do at the end, preferably not related to Dark Souls, though Marco will find a way to make it related to Dark Souls, please send it in the comment section down below, or you can submit it via our Google Forms. And as much as I would like to keep rambling on about how much I love Dark Souls, Brad, we have to end this episode of the Level Cap podcast.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you, Marco, for co-hosting this new episode with me, and I hope you guys are all super excited for BattleCon Online for BattleCon Unleashed, both coming in August.
Oh man, August is going to be the month of BattleCon. Battle August. AugustCon.
Yes. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm very excited.
Looking forward to it. So, thank you guys. Thank you, World of Indians. Happy gaming, and good night.
Good night.